Hello everyone, this is Mingjong. Welcome to today's market analysis for the S&P 500 E-mini futures for the trading session on the 21st of May. So in this video, I am going to show you the market recap on the last session plus a trade review in M3 that I will cover the entry, exit, and the rationale behind based on the sign of strength breakout followed by a test on the support level. So the bias going forward, key levels to pay attention to, and also the potential setup for the session later. So without further ado, let's just get started. As you can see on this daily chart here, what's happening yesterday? Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so yesterday we had a bullish session. But if you look closer in the US session, it's actually pretty narrow range or a tight range because majority of the movement happened during the non-RTH from the Asian to London session. So if I look at this H1 chart, we can see that on the yesterday's session, majority of the movement happened during the Asian session here, and from the London session we have another push. And during the US session, we did have a push to the swing high here, and subsequently I think we doing all right because not much supply from the swing high level, but we have seen a reaction, and from there on we pretty much goes into a range. So that's pretty much it for the yesterday's session. But if you look closer, I think we can get a bit more detail. Let me just zoom into M3. Okay, let's just wait a little bit here. Okay, still waiting. All right, so here we go. Let me get back to yesterday's session. So yesterday I had a trade in the first hour of the US session, but before I go through that trade, let me just cover a little bit for what's happening prior to the US session. So as you can see at around 2 p.m. my time, pretty much very close to the European London session. From there on, I think we have seen this kind of the behavior, like the range breakout, and then range, breakout, range, and then breakout again. So this is pretty much the dynamic of the S&P 500 just prior to the US session. And therefore, I think we can still rely on using this kind of the pattern to trade accordingly. So what I actually anticipate during the London session was some kind of the similar movement, like breakout, range, breakout again, and then range, breakout, range, breakout, range until it fails. So this is pretty much my trading plan. And as you can see, I got a markup on the trade here. So what's happening here? Before I do that, let me just zoom out a bit because this is the level markup just prior to the session. Usually what I do is I just mark up the previous day high, day low, and also the non-RTH high and low. You can see that this is the day high from the day before, and that's the day low, that's the non-RTH low, and that's the non-RTH high. So pretty much these are the levels that I also pay attention to, and you can see that the price actually react well from that level. Let me get back a bit here. Okay, so just this is right at the opening at 9:30 my time, and subsequently we have seen a breakout from this range because I just treat this as a range. Pretty much this is a bullish sign breakout, but eventually just have a backup action, and we have another breakout from this swing high, which is part of this range as well, and subsequently, and this also broke above the previous day high, which I pay attention to, is also considered as a key level. So this is a sign of strength rally followed by a reaction or a test of this support level, and subsequently we have seen a reversal bar here, and this is where my long entry was. I just initiated a long entry right after the close of this bar with my stop just below the immediate swing low here, or just below the support level. And subsequently I just managed a trade through. I didn't exit it here because this kind of reaction out of this uptrend is pretty shallow, and I actually expect further continuation to at least test the swing high, but it didn't really test the swing high as I mark up in the purple line here. It attempted to test it, but it didn't. So this actually shows a bit of the weakness, and because subsequently you can see that the price actually just fall back into the range here, and also this is the support or the resistance and support level here, and just break the support, and this is where I exited the trade. And it's not a very profitable trade, but I think it's still around 1 hour. That's close around 12 a.m. my time, so it's pretty much also acted as a time stop for me. So if it's still going nowhere, didn't trigger a stop loss until 12 a.m. my time, then I will just close the trade and go to bed. Alright, so this is the trade review from yesterday's session. Just get back to current moment. Right, so what's happening now? Let's just take a look in H1. Okay, so yesterday I think I talked about potential absorption that I actually anticipate, which I think is kind of showed up here in the last 4 bars. So if you look at these 4 bars here from 12, 1, 2, and 3, so this last 4 hour bars, you can see that we are pretty much in a tight range, and we have seen some demand tail showed up on every single bar here. So what does it mean? It simply means that there is some kind of the demand come in to support the price, and I think the supply level is not significantly high, so it's just maintaining around this area. So this is the kind of the behavior that I anticipate for supply absorption. But unfortunately at 9 o'clock Asian session today, we have seen a breakdown, and subsequently into the London session, currently we're still in a reaction mode, pending pullback. What I'm thinking at the moment is, if you look at the slightly larger time frame, so this is the immediate uptrend, which I draw up in the up channel, and we have a change of character, so they actually stop the uptrend and goes into at least a trading range. At the moment it could turn into a reversal and go back down again, which at the moment we still yet to see for more clues. And currently I think we are still fluctuating from this high 2976, the swing high, and swing low 2910, I would say. Yeah, this is the levels that I pay attention to. Pretty much is within this trading range. I'm expecting some kind of the movement until it actually resolve out from this range. So if it does show some kind of the supply absorption, then it probably will turn into some kind of the structure with decreasing volatility and decreasing volume. And some levels that I pay attention to, immediate resistance obviously is still the swing high 2976. So if it does go back to that level, I think if it shows rejection, definitely can initiate short entry, because it's pretty much still consolidating within this range here. But the first immediate resistance level I pay attention to is actually this breakdown bar in the Asian session. 9 a.m. my time. So if it can just go back up and actually tested this bar and followed by some kind of the rejection, then it probably can be a good shot. So what I want to see is actually a test of this breakdown bar, which I consider as a supply zone as well. Otherwise, currently it still go back to test this demand bar here. So this 2 bar pretty much acted as demand zone. So if it does keep going down into the US session, and this is one of the levels that I pay attention to, like 2930. If it can bounce up from there, then probably can consider a trade. Otherwise, we still have the swing low there, 2910 or 2908. So somewhere around there. Just drag it a bit here. So if it just bounce out from there, then it could just form a long entry. So pretty much it's just a few levels like 2910 or 2930 for the support levels, and for the immediate resistance level is this supply bar here around 2960, and definitely the swing high at 2976. So these are a few levels that I pay attention to. Currently, my bias for day trading is kind of neutral, because as we enter into the trading range, I think we can see where the price at and how the price actually react at different key levels. Either long or short entry are definitely okay for me. Not really have any bias for day trading, but for swing, in general, I think as long as this structure has not broken yet, then we should see supply absorption here, which I anticipate, and then followed by a breakout for higher target like 3050. However, if today's turnout or later turnout to be a failure or commitment below the 2910, so just a break below, maybe followed by a weak rally up, inability to go up, then I think we should see further downside to test the swing low again. So this is one of the key levels that I pay attention to, like 2910. Of course, we have further support at 2880 or 2890. So basically, what I want to see is some kind of the support. Definitely, the best case is from the swing low here to 910, if not around 2890. So anything beyond that, then I will probably consider another downswing to maybe test the swing low 2780, 770. So pretty much that's my bias. And I think we come to the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it and find it useful and get something out. So if you like it, just click like, and also hover to my name or picture to follow me. And do remember to subscribe to my channel so that you get instant notification for my future videos. So as usual, so if you have any kind of the comments, suggestion, trade ideas you'd like to share with me, then feel free to comment it below. I will definitely reply to you. Alright, thanks for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.